Part 1. The Discovery. God, I'm still shaking. My hands won't stop trembling as I type this. I didn't mean to do it. None of this was supposed to happen. It was a stupid, panicked reaction that spiraled into a nightmare. I'm sitting here in my dark living room. The same room where just a year ago I thought my life was stable, if a little boring. Now, I think I might be a murderer. Please, anyone, tell me what to do. Let me explain everything from the beginning, because the beginning is where this fracture started. It was a Sunday night in March of 2023. Rain was tapping against the window, a soft, rhythmic sound that usually felt comforting. I had just gifted my wife, Stacy, a new iPad for her birthday. Her face lit up with that genuine smile I'd fallen in love with a decade ago. We were on the couch, me helping her set it up, syncing it to her Apple account. The familiar ritual felt intimate. She kissed my cheek, said she was going to take a quick shower to wash off the day, and left the iPad on the coffee table. The silence after the shower started was broken by a rapid series of dings. Notifications popped up on the iPad screen, messages backing up from her phone. I glanced over, not thinking much of it. Then another one came through, fresh. The sender's name was Gracie. I knew Gracie. Stacy had talked about her for years. When COVID restrictions eased, we joined a gym together. My work schedule eventually forced me to drop the morning sessions, but Stacy kept at it religiously, 3 to 4 times a week. She had always had a hard time making female friends, so when she started gushing about this funny, motivating woman named Gracie from her spin class, I was genuinely happy for her. They'd become close, taking the occasional weekend girls' trip to a spa or for hiking. My eyes locked on the text preview. I pulled a muscle last time. Tomorrow it's your turn to get on top. The world didn't spin. It just solidified into a block of ice in my chest. My first, stupid thought was, that's a weird thing to say about yoga. But the winking emoji, the phrasing, it felt like a physical blow. Before I could process it, before I could even think to screenshot it, I heard the shower shut off. I fumbled, turning the iPad screen off, placing it back exactly as it was. My heart was a jackhammer against my ribs. That night, I lay beside her in bed, staring at the ceiling. She slept peacefully, her breathing even. I replayed every moment of the last few years. The improved physique she'd worked so hard for, the firmer, rounder butt, the slimmed waist, the defined abs she was so proud of. I'd cheered her on, kissed her muscles, felt a mix of pride and annoying, unspoken insecurity. Me, in 58, average build, my hairline staging a slow retreat, an engineer who prefers tidiness to the gym. I thought we were okay. Not passionate fireworks, but stable. We had sex regularly on weekends. We didn't fight. We shared a life. She worked long nights as a nurse. I worked early mornings. We were 2 ships passing in the afternoon haze for 20 minutes, with weekends as our dock. I convinced myself I'd misinterpreted. It had to be gym banter. It had to be. Part 2. The confirmation. I couldn't live with the doubt. The next morning, I left for work at 4 a.m. as usual. Instead of heading to the office, I parked my sedan down the street, hidden by a large oak tree. I called in sick, a hollow feeling in my gut. Like clockwork, at 7:50 a.m., her SUV backed out of the driveway. I followed at a distance, my palms slick on the wheel. She didn't go to the gym. She drove 15 minutes into a quiet, well-kept suburban neighborhood I'd never seen her visit. My stomach dropped as she pulled into the driveway of a modern, 2-story house. Parked in front was a vehicle that looked like it belonged in a magazine. A pristine, lime green 1967 Mustang. A man opened the front door before she even reached it. He was enormous, at least 62, built like he split logs for fun, with a broad chest and a thick, dark beard. He looked like a Viking who'd discovered protein shakes. Stacy didn't knock. She walked right into his open arms, a hug that seemed to last a lifetime, her body melting into his. Then she disappeared inside, and the door closed. I sat there, nauseated. A hug isn't proof, my mind screamed. Maybe it's her personal trainer, a physical therapist. The rationalizations were pathetic, but I clung to them. I waited. For 4 hours, I waited, watching the house, seeing shadows move behind blinds. At noon, the door opened again. Stacy emerged. Her normally sleek ponytail was a messy, loose bun. Her workout clothes-tight leggings and a sports top were deeply wrinkled, as if they'd been in a pile on the floor. Her cheeks were flushed, not with light exercise, but with the deep, spent glow I recognized. They shared another long hug at the doorway, his hand cupping the back of her head in a way that was painfully intimate. She drove off, and I noted the address with numb fingers. I followed her routine every morning that week, Monday through Thursday, the same pattern, the Mustang house, the Viking, the 4-hour visits, the disheveled exits. By Friday, the ice in my chest had thawed into a raw, burning anger. The evidence was incontrovertible. My wife of 5 years, my partner of 10, was having a long-term affair. Part 3. The plan. I met with a divorce lawyer, my voice flat as I laid out the facts. His response was a second betrayal. No fault state, he said. Without concrete proof, photos, videos, admissions, it's just your word. Given the income disparity and the length of the marriage, she's likely to get a significant portion of the assets, potentially alimony. The house, the accounts, it'll be a split. Rage, cold and meticulous, replaced the heartbreak. I would not reward her betrayal with half of everything I'd built. A plan formed in my mind, dark and detailed. It wasn't about winning her back, it was about ensuring she left with nothing but the shame shed brought into our marriage. Phase 1. Asset protection. Over the next year, I slowly, carefully liquidated and transferred everything. My brother, loyal and disgusted by what I told him, became my vault. The deed to our house was signed over to him. My savings and investment accounts were drained and wired to his. The titles for both our cars were transferred. On paper, I was a man approaching destitution, renting a room from my brother. Phase 2. Sabotage. Twofold. I stopped initiating sex, claiming stress at work. Then, after her last period, I executed the cruelest part. Her birth control pills were in a daily dispenser. I spent weeks finding placebo pills that were a near-perfect visual match. One evening when she was on a girls' trip with Gracie, I carefully swapped them. The thought was venomous. Let her have a permanent reminder of her infidelity with him. Phase 3. Proof. I needed irrefutable evidence to finally expose her and protect myself legally in the divorce. I couldn't hack her devices, so I turned to the source. I bought 3 tiny, wireless spy cameras from an obscure online retailer. My plan was to mount them outside his bedroom windows, to capture the act through the glass. It was risky, but my anger had morphed into a relentless, focused drive. Part 4. The breaking point that brings me to tonight. I drove to his house around 8 p.m. A black-clad ghost, black jeans, black hoodie, black gloves. A backpack held the cameras, tools, and a crowbar for prying. The lime green Mustang was absent from the driveway. A surge of adrenaline. This was my chance. I slipped into the backyard, the grass damp under my feet. I found the bedroom window at the back of the house. The blinds were down, but the window itself was cracked open about an inch, for ventilation. My mind raced. Inside, the footage would be crystal clear, undeniable. It was a risk, but it was the ultimate play. Using the crowbar, I quietly levered the window open just enough to squeeze through, landing softly on the plush carpet inside. The room was neat, masculine dark furniture, a large bed, a faint scent of cologne and linen. I shrugged off my backpack, placing the crowbar on the floor. My hands worked quickly in the dim light filtering from a street lamp outside. First camera, buried in the soil of a large potted ficus in the corner, lens peeking through the leaves. Second, nestled on a shelf in the slightly ajar closet, aimed at the bed. The third was trickier. I decided on the top of the tall dresser, behind the TV, giving a wide, top-down view. As I stretched to adjust the angle, my foot brushed against the crowbar on the floor with a soft metallic scrape. The bedroom door flew open. Light from the hallway flooded in, framing a massive silhouette. What the hell? His voice was a roar. He didn't hesitate. He lunged across the room, a blur of muscle and fury. I was knocked off my feet, my back hitting the carpet with a thud that drove the air from my lungs. He was on top of me, one hand pinning my wrist to the floor with incredible force. The weight of him was suffocating. "You chose the wrong house to steal from, dipshit," he snarled, his face inches from mine. I could smell his breath, see the furious confusion in his eyes. He drew his other fist back. Panic, pure and primal, consumed me. This was it. I'd be arrested, beaten. Everything would come out: the cameras, the stalking, the asset hiding. Stacy would know. The world would see me as a criminal, not the wronged husband. My free hand flailed beside me, fingers scrambling over the carpet. They closed around the cold, ridged steel of the crowbar. As his punch connected with my jaw, exploding stars of pain across my vision, I swung blindly, with all the frantic strength of a trapped animal. There was a sickening, wet thwack as the metal connected squarely with his jaw. I felt the impact shudder up my arm. He grunted, a sound of surprise more than pain, and his grip loosened. His momentum, coupled with the blow, twisted his body. He stumbled sideways, his balance utterly gone. His temple struck the sharp, solid corner of his wooden bed frame with a horrific, echoing crack. Then, silence. He crumpled to the floor and didn't move. I scrambled to my knees, my breath coming in ragged, sobbing gasps. "Hey, hey," I whispered, shaking his shoulder. Nothing. A dark, thick pool of blood was already spreading from his head, soaking into the beige carpet, looking black in the low light. I pressed the shaking fingers against his neck. No pulse. I checked his wrist. Nothing. Just a terrible, empty stillness. The reality of what I had done, what had happened, crashed over me like a tsunami. I hadn't meant to kill him. I'd just wanted him to let go. I looked at the crowbar in my hand, now a murder weapon. A wave of vomit rose in my throat, but I choked it down. Terror provided a brutal, clear instruction manual. Move. I shoved the third camera and the tools back into my backpack. I grabbed the crowbar, wiping it frantically on the bedspread. I didn't touch anything else. I lunged for the window, hauled myself out, and ran, a phantom fleeing through the night. I drove to a state forest 10 miles away, my mind blank except for survival instinct. Using my hands and the very crowbar I was there to hide, I dug a shallow, frantic hole in the soft earth beneath a thicket of pines. I buried the crowbar, the gloves, the hoodie, the jeans, the shoes. I buried the person who had done this. I drove home in the spare clothes I'd left in the car, my body trembling uncontrollably. And now I'm here. I am no longer just a betrayed husband. I am a man who broke into a house and, in a struggle, killed someone. It was an accident, a terrible, panicked accident born from a year of festering pain and a moment of blind terror. But will anyone believe that? The cameras are still in his house, transmitting God knows what to my phone. My car might have been seen. My assets are all hidden under my brother's name, which now looks premeditated. Do I call the police and confess, throwing myself on their mercy, explaining the affair, the provocation? Do I wait, see if the body is discovered, and hope the cameras aren't found or traced? Do I run? My hands won't stop shaking. I've lost my wife, my future, and now, I think, my soul. Please, Reddit. What the hell do I do now? The man is dead, and I am the one who swung the crowbar.